Alright, so this video is going to be talking about rune enhancement. It's going to be quite straightforward, and there will be a separate video just emphasizing a bit more heavily about some more advanced things. But there are a good chunk of videos that I have talking about runes. If you want to see them, look in the description for that. I also have a playlist about Chronicles stuff. Could be summoning, could be me talking about runes, or some other functions, features in the game. If you want to watch those videos, go ahead and check that out. But anyways, let us go over here. Let us go to the runes. Now, the thing is, it's quite straightforward. It's like the leveling process. Now, I think most of the time when you upgrade runes, there's no chance of it failing. That could change maybe with 6-star runes. Note that if you're watching this in the future and there's 6-star runes and you're watching this and you do not see any 6-star runes here, it's because the game does not have it yet. But anyways, the highest I could get is a 5-star rune. In terms of their grade, which is the color behind it, that will vary. And there's a reason to why you may want the higher colored ones, but that's a separate video. But let us stick with the basics. So, reason why I want to do this enhancement process is so you can give more stats to your summons. Now, there's the main stat and the substat. If you haven't watched the video where I talked about how to read this quickly, you might want to see that, but that's your discretion. Pretty much main stats up here, substats over here. And if I want to work on this, just be conscious of, well, if you're still new, I would say this, and this is my opinion. If you're still new, you may want to enhance some stuff, but do not try to plus 15 it right off the get-go. Why? Especially if you're still in certain areas and you don't have 5-star runes yet. You may want to hold off until you get to the end late game. If there's 6-star runes later in the future as well, you may want to try to hold off and try to get those instead, unless it is very hard to acquire. Then you might want to get the 5-star runes instead. Reason being, the quick breakdown on this is just, when it comes to the star, this is at +9, this is at +9. It's at placement 1. It's going to give you the attack flat stat no matter what. But you can see that there's a difference with this one that's at a 5-star rarity. It's already at +9, this is at +9. It has a lot more in the main substat. Now in terms of substats, that's a different story, but in main stat there is a difference. And if I look at something like these two pieces over here, you can see, yes, they have different substats, but they are still the same in terms of the main stat. They both are at 5-star rarity, they both are blue, and they are at +12. They have the same main stat, which is 328. Now, if I took a different, another example, let's say over here, there's this piece, the defense main stat is 364. You can see over here, this is 364. So it doesn't matter about the grade in particular with the main stat. It's more of the rarity, but there's a reason why you want to be conscious of grades, and that goes into more of an important point. But the thing is, once again, just to emphasize on this, especially if you're new, don't go too crazy with the runes yet. You want to save your resources, because later on, you're going to need these resources to do a lot of things. And the big thing is, especially for these higher grade runes, well, higher rarity and grade runes, you're gonna spend a good chunk of resources. So if I wanted to let's say for example I want to try to +15 this, look at how many resources I'm using. In terms of gold, in terms of the stones over here, especially if it's a legendary 5-star grade, the rune enhancement stones, and then the sky stones. Sky stones are going to be a big thing that you'll be consuming left and right. So just be conscious of that. Anyways, let us go back to upgrading something. I think I wanted to gamble with this piece. So, this well, obviously this is at 0, and the max amount is +15. Now, you can select this option to do that, but I do want to take it slow. Depending on what the grade is, you will see that certain things kind of happen. And that's more into the advanced things. But, obviously, highest one is +15, so you give you the most out of its buck when it comes to the main stat. In terms of substats, this will vary. So if I wanted to play around with this, let me just go to +3. Note that you will get a bonus at +3, +6, +9, +12. +15 is where it ends, and then just focus on increasing your main stat. And what do I mean by a bonus? So if I go over here and do +3, you get to see that it increased the main stat, which is 82 at flat attack. It goes to 153. But you can see that I got a boost in the crit rate. This is you rolling into a substat. And you'll get to see more advanced stuff of this later. But you can see that this got rolled into crit rate, which isn't bad, but I was hoping more on evasion. So you see that sort of roll. Now I do it again, and you can see that it rolled into crit rate again, and you can see that the number went from whatever it was previously. I mean, shows right there from +3 to +6 is getting an increase to 12.7 from 8.3. But guess what? That low number that you had, I think it was like 5.7. It went from 5.7 to 8.3 to 12.7. So you got a good beefy crit rate boost right there. Now, will these stats increase after that? That will depend on the grade. And I'm going to emphasize this heavily once again in a later video, more advanced things. But from here on out, you can see that if I go +9 with this rune, it's going to start unlocking the third substat. Third substat, it is giving me accuracy. And then the last substat, it gives me resistance. So overall, this piece isn't bad. But once again, I kind of wanted to roll into evasion. And not only that, I think, even though I say it's not that bad, I kind of want HP percent over here, especially if I want to put this on a support unit that may not emphasize heavily on like defense and all that, and I want them to survive. Not only do I want evasion, I may want that HP as well. And then you guys see, once again, if I say that if you go to +15, it's not going to do anything to these substats anymore. It's just going to focus on that main stat. The main stat's the attack stat number. You can see that went from 328 to 409, and everything else stayed the same. And that's pretty much it when it comes to you enhancing the runes. And it's going to be the same for all these other runes. Granted that you can see a bit of a difference when you see some colored pieces here and there. But I'll just leave it at that. That is its own separate video just so you guys can digest this and be able to understand just the basic minimal, or yeah, the minimal stuff when it comes to runes enhancement. There's some other things you could do, apply effects and enchant, but that goes into alchemy and just boosting up the particular stat you really want to work on. Granted that this in itself is also RNG because you need to make it, or you could buy it. Well, I don't think you can buy it. Maybe you could buy it. Can you buy it? Good question. Did not think about that. I don't think you can buy it. Yeah, I don't think you can. Consumables. Potions. Yeah, you can't really buy it, but you're gonna most likely want to make it, and it's RNG in terms of the stat you're going for. Anyways, that is it. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace.